welcome everybody to this interesting panel on human resources. The name of the panel today is Availability, Productivity, Health, and COVID-19. I think also one of the words we can use here is diversification. It's an honor to be on a panel with three ladies and also being announced by a lady, which is great for the industry. Huh? So yeah, I think that's a good movement as well. So as Jimena also said, I represent IP's Powerful People. We are a company that's dedicated to personnel, both recruitment, crewing, and permanent staffing. We've been in Mexico since 2007. We have about 30 staff. We're based in Mexico City, Ciudad del Carmen, and we have also some people in Villahermosa and Altamira, plus our rep office in Houston. We have 30 staff and about 1,000 people on contracts. Obviously, these times are challenging. The rules for COVID are different per state. So we have to cope with a lot of different rules and regulations. Also, the new operators in Mexico, we work with a few operators. They have different rules and training capabilities and necessities. Also for the EPCs and the drilling companies. So I think it's very interesting to talk a little bit more into detail. I don't have to talk that much today, but obviously I would love to give my opinion on a couple of points as well. But I think it's better to listen to the great panelists we have on the panel today. So without further ado, I will move into the questions, and from there we'll take it. As Jimena mentioned, there will be questions available from the audience. So if you have a question, please make sure to put it in the Q&A options on the bottom, and we will try to answer all of them. So first of all, first question: how has the economic impact of COVID-19 reshaped the labor market for Mexico's oil and gas industry, creating new opportunities for job applicants and hiring managers? I think we will start with Zayra, if you could give us your opinion.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, besides the external threat of COVID-19, the oil and gas industry itself is in a great compression, and organizations have very restricted room to maneuver. So we need to be ready to transform and have all our processes built to adapt. And definitely, the talent will play a key role to define the future of work. Organizations have been restructuring to optimize their resources regarding people, massive layoffs, furloughs, and pay cuts. Coupled with the heightening cyclicality in employment, our industry is challenging its reputation of a reliable employer. And it is a reality that we are still adjusting to match the market. So attracting new talent is not an immediate priority. And this is easy to understand given the slowdown in production and the pressure to reduce costs. But on the other hand, we need to continue assuring we have a bench of young talent to develop. And in a midterm, be ready to have the competencies. And by competencies, I mean knowledge, skills, experience, and behaviors needed to be the successors of an aging workforce. The median in the oil and gas industry is above 44 years. So from our side in the company, next year, we will continue promoting our employer branding with universities and strategic partners to position Halliburton as a preferred employer, and in this way facilitate the attraction, selection, and engagement of qualified talent to achieve our organizational objectives and Halliburton success. So what would be my recommendation? Well, for applicants, to make sure they have posted their profile in our ATS, applicant tracking system called Hires. It is available in the web. So when the time comes, our recruiters can easily look for your profile, check who you are, what you do, what have you been doing, what have you done, have the pre-filtering process done, and you can be passed to the next level, which is hiring managers for interviews, so that the managers can perceive the most suitable ones who have the competencies needed and from whose their motivational fit would easily adhere to our organizational culture and values. And in this way, select the best ones to be part of our organization. That would be my opinion on this.
Thank you very much. Socorro?
Hello, can you hear me? Hi everyone, I'm really glad to be here and have the opportunity to share my opinion with the other panelists. About the question, since the arrival of coronavirus in Mexico, many economic activities have been suspended, and with this, many occupations have been left in standby. Others even have been eliminated. At the same time, other sectors have gained strength by creating new job positions and workplaces. In general, companies have had to modify a large part of their processes and labor schemes to face the COVID-19 pandemic. In this way, COVID-19 has been a little like a time machine that made happen in weeks, changes that we thought would happen in decades. Remote work has been one of the main modifications within organizations. According to the labor survey prepared by one of the main digital employment platforms during the last week of May, 9 of 10 employees claim to feel comfortable with this work scheme in their current occupations. Even with the fact that home office has represented one of the greatest opportunities for the preservation of jobs during the pandemic, some problems persist and pronounce inequality within the labor market. In the same report was found that home office represents problems, especially for people with technological laggings. Work processes have changed. Using of technology have become a key performance indicator, as well as knowledge management. For job applicants, this represents an opportunity, especially for those who has stronger technological skills. In Golfo, Suplemento, Latino, we have been this season working, doing home office with all the people that is part of this big family. We learn because this is new for all of us, but we available, we are willing to keep learning and doing the best effort to be well in this season. Thank you.
Thank you, Socorro. Then first we move to our next questions. How do you expect employment in Mexico oil and gas industry in 2021? Do you expect it to go up or down? And what measures are you taking at the moment to be prepared? We can start with you, Socorro.
Okay, I guess what we live this year is going to be the same until the end of the year. The impact of the current economy, which come from the health and energy cost context, has given us signs that oil and gas sector recovery won't come soon. So it's probably that if depending in the evolution of the COVID crisis, probably by middle of late 2021, the recovery could begin.
Okay. Zayra, what's your opinion? And maybe also after 2021.
Yeah, as per some statistical analysis on employment and market data made by different specialized firms, the data suggests that as much as 70% of jobs lost during the pandemic may not come back in 2021 in a business as usual scenario. So unfortunately, the rate of recovery in employment will likely be slower over the next 15 to 18 months. I agree with Socorro.
Okay. Jenni.
Sorry about that, I was on mute. Yes, I completely agree with my colleagues on the panel. I think COVID has created a downturn in what was a very rapid increase for the Mexican market, but I think COVID has declined that some, and we'll see a slow ramp start middle of 2021, and then probably a much rapid growth curve into 2022.
Okay. And then we can move on to the next question, which is also for you. How has the impact of COVID-19 influenced training and in the expertise required of talent?
Yes, thank you. So a few of the panelists have mentioned a few key words around competency and development and access to technology, or the transformation to a technological workforce or place. And so COVID has drastically impacted what we would call traditional training and the expertise that's required of the talent that's being either hired, rehired, or developed into another role. So when you take not just a society, but an industry in general that has been so used to in-person, hands-on training in a classroom or on the job, and you completely convert to a digital format. So you're asking them to use a computer to learn what sometimes could take weeks and months in a 1 to 3 day period. You're asking them to have access to a dependable network, a dependable device. You're asking them to set aside time to sit in front of a computer and learn the objectives that we need them to learn to be able to operate safely. So it's really drastically changed not only the way training's delivered and being able to get creative on delivery platforms, being able to maintain or increase engagement during the course, but our learners, especially an aged workforce, is having to now operate things virtually. So for an age group that didn't grow up playing video games or didn't grow up learning things virtually or in snack bites over YouTube or Google, we're now asking them to take what they've done in person and be able to demonstrate, and we're asking them to simulate. And so there's many workers that understand how to do something on the job, but may not be able to translate those competencies or that knowledge onto a simulator or a virtual piece of equipment where they can operate it end to end. So we're not only seeing the need for additional expertise in this area, but we're also seeing the need for learners to have varying learning types, where it's not just in person or in the classroom, it's where they can work in this new digital age as well. And I think COVID has definitely expedited the learning curve between hands-on to kind of this new virtual gaming space that we'll see, I think, coming for many years to come from this point forward.
Yeah. I know that you're also planning to open up a new training center. Yes. I guess that those plans are postponed, or what are the ideas there?
No, we're very excited about our investment in growth in Mexico. We think Mexico is a very exciting market. We think it's one of the markets that from an operational or production standpoint will see quick recovery post-COVID. So we are still investing in the facility, but it might look a little different than what you see in Carmen based on a lot of things that I talked about today. So you might see more virtual reality-based training. You might see more simulators or simulation-based training versus the actual kit and equipment in itself. So we're learning to adapt kind of our delivery methodology as well throughout this crisis.
Great. I think a helicopter underwater escape training will be difficult from the laptop, but
yeah, I don't think we can get rid of the pool, although theory could probably be delivered through a laptop, but I'm not sure we'll ever be able to save somebody from the experience of being ditched in the pool through the helicopter.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Jenni.
Sure.
Now let's move on. So both to candidates and for companies that are dedicated to finding the right personnel in Mexico, what, in your opinion, are contractors, and then including the major service providers, looking for talent in the current phase of the offshore development in Mexico? Where do we see the gaps, and how can we, be part of this? Zayra, maybe you would like to give us your opinion?
Sure. Well, I totally agree with what Jenni said regarding now everything has to be digital, just as a comment, and that our main workforce, for example, in my company, which 70% is operational people, they need, as Jenni said, to really experience the thing in order to develop the ability. So having to do that over the computer is really complicated. But okay, regarding the question, well, at this time, we're looking for experienced, qualified talent with competencies, as Jenni said, knowledge, skill, experience required by our customer contracts. The contracts, have the different requirements we need to comply regarding the talent is going to go to their well site to perform. talent that can come. We're looking for this talent that can come and join the organization. And as we said, be plug and play. Because right now, as per all the situation and the compression in the industry, everything is about cost, reduce costs and cash flow. So having people already ready to be sent immediately to the field and generate revenue is a priority. And as per the volatility in the market, we have been challenged to hire experienced people for the specific period of time the contract will last. So this has changed the way of hiring. As in the past, the hires used to be for undetermined period of time. And now that is not the usual situation anymore. So definitely right now our focus is on hiring experienced talent. But again, as I mentioned before, on the other hand, we are certain that we still want to continue creating a bench of young professionals who can develop their competencies needed to be promoted to higher positions. And then we want to continue bringing more young professionals to entry-level positions and develop them. And we want to do this working also on bringing diversity in our hires as well. And the best way to work on diversity hires is go to universities, look for young professionals recently graduated. As these positions, entry level, do not require any experience, just the university degree foundations. We want to bring this diverse talent, accelerate their development through our robust training and development programs so that they can continue growing in the organization. As we consider diversity is good business. And right now, well, I'm talking about diversity in any way, different backgrounds, different gender, because we know there is a gap. Besides the gap of experience, the gap of having a diverse operational talent that can occupy higher positions. So bringing this diverse talent will bring even better possible solutions to collaborate and support our customers' success.
Thank you. Socorro, what's your opinion? Where talent needed? What can we do?
I totally agree with Jenni and with Zayra. I think that adaptability is a key word this year, has been a key word this year. And besides all the technical skills that we need in our talent, we consider that there are 3 competencies that are very important to face this COVID crisis. The first, knowledge management. The challenge of knowledge management is that knowledge changes or loses validity soon. For the same reason, for a person, the main challenge is to keep the knowledge over the time and be able to update efficiently. Because of the COVID crisis, at the end of April 2020, there was a huge increase in the use of the digital platforms and apps. During this period, Microsoft Teams had 75 million daily users. Zoom had 300 million. In order to provide access to knowledge and promote interaction between people during the pandemic, many companies have implemented solutions based on apps that allow them, for instance, to have access to communications tools. This way of working represented and still represents a challenge for many of our employees who have not been able to adapt to this change. The second one, ethics. In Mexico and the world, the COVID-19 pandemic made happen in weeks changes that we thought would happen in decades. Companies had to react, integrating people, technology, and new ways of working. So in this way, ethical concerns becomes a significant term for the organizations. And finally, belonging. This crisis reminds us that people get the highest level of motivations when they find a connection between individual contributions and a clear and shared mission. A stronger link has been established between belonging and organizational performance. We keep in mind that people contribute to organizations when they feel that their talents, strengths, and work are having impact on bigger goals.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. And if I'm honest, I think we will be in this situation for quite a time still, which also means that we see people working from home, maybe even for longer periods. Maybe you can all comment shortly whether you feel that people will be working from home for longer periods. Will we ever go back to having full offices? And what measures are you taking to make sure that people still feel that they belong to the company? Because I think that's definitely something very important, no? The contact between colleagues. Let's start with Jenni. I think Jenni's muted. Let's start with Zayra, and in the meanwhile, she figures out the microphone.
Yeah, you were saying, you were asking about if we're going to continue doing remote work, right? That's the question you were saying, if we think we're going to continue this way, right? That's what
yes, exactly. Will we ever?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I would say in an organization like the organization I am, as I said before, 70% is operational, and the operation have to be there in the rig side. But the 30% that are not operational, we have definitely be able to respond with the information technology infrastructure we already had in place. It has been accelerated, as Jenni said. We expected this in a period of time, but not right now, but this accelerated the things. And fortunately, everything have worked well. People that is already an employee in Halliburton, it's really engaged with what they need to do, because we have very strong values and we know we belong, where we belong and what is our purpose. For the new ones, we are inventing new ways to make them feel engaged with the organization, to make them feel part of the organization. And it's not only in the organization. My sons, they are also entering a new year. I did all the process because they entered a new school. All was virtually. I have never put a step in the school. My children have never known their teachers or anything. In fact, the teacher is in another country. We are here. Others are in Europe, etc. And it has really working well. I think we can take out more benefits of this new, this usual, reality, usual, whatever. It's working. And in the case of our company, it's working well because we have the infrastructure to do it, which is very good.
Thank you. Jenni, I see you're back online.
Sorry, I couldn't override your mute. So I think for a business like ours, it is very personal. It's very face-to-face, live instruction, live mentorship. So we have not seen the same kind of work at home or virtual experience that maybe many of our clients have seen, or our other peers, I think, in the industry. But what we do see from a lot of our peers is efficiencies that can be created, especially on the back end. So digitalizing processes that used to be human-led, allowing people to work from home, which also creates efficiencies around workspace, leases, offices, this whole new thing of Zoom and not having to fly around the world anymore, or drive across town to see your clients or to discuss projects. I mean, we're running different types of training, so drilling a well on a simulator, but over the computer where we're not all in the same room. And I'm not sure that will go away. I think we will see an increased back to office or increased face-to-face over time. But I think a lot of the efficiencies that have been created during this period will last for, going forward. And I think the longer it takes, the more tools like Zoom and other platforms that will come into play that will make that, really just the way to go for the future.
Thank you. Socorro, you already mentioned the three important points, of which one was belonging. What's your opinion on this part?
I guess that this new way of working make us realize that we have to review our processes, because we used to think in work in an office with other people working next to me. In this time, we have learned to work alone, being connected through social media and other communication tools. This is a big challenge for us, for everyone, because if we don't adapt to this new challenge, we're not going to survive.
That's true. I think it will be a big challenge for the whole real estate world as well, where offices will be smaller, houses will be bigger, people will need a good working place from home, and we will see what happens there. But I think we can have an entire panel about that. We'll do that in a later time. In your experiences, what are the main concerns of the international companies that are now actually coming to Mexico towards Mexican talent? I think one we can mention obviously is language. I think there's still some work to be done there. And there's some other ones. I think the international companies who are putting one of the courses obligatory is Bosjet, which is great for Jenni, of course, but what's your opinion on that? And what are the main concerns you've seen with the IOCs coming in? Let's start with Jenni, because I think she has obviously a big part in this.
Yes. So I just think in our experiences in staying close to the workforce and our international clients that are looking to move in, the biggest concern is maintaining nationalization, promoting nationalization by hiring very experienced technicians and how to work their progression into management. And with the growth projections that are coming over the next 5 to 10 years, the problem becomes how big is that pool of experienced workforce, and what programs are in place that helps develop that over time. And so as they look to be recruiting from the same pool of people, eventually that pool will just go away and everyone will be in the position where they're starting to develop their own talent. And with that challenge comes, you get people who leave for money, right? We're a very money-driven society, our workforce is. And so when you develop somebody and you give them the tools that they need to succeed and the knowledge and experience, then a competitor could come along, offer them, more money hourly, and so you'll lose that talent and knowledge, and it's a constant cycle of redevelopment and refilling. So, and the price of that talent then, because of those kind of wars on salary or pay, will increase, I think, the base pay quite exponentially in the next 5 to 10 years. I think there will be a shift there. So that's going to create pressure all on its own, changes all on its own, especially if we don't see environmental changes or if we don't see industry changes with the current oil price crisis. So that will definitely create a challenge, I think, around the development of the workforce. And this will drive the solutions we talk about in the next question, I think, of how everyone can work together to work to overcome that challenge that'll come up.
Yeah. I think a cooperation between the IOCs and government and all stakeholders is definitely important. Zayra, what can you tell us about this main concerns?
Well, at this moment, I could say that there is qualified talent in oil and gas industry in Mexico. In the past, we used to have issues regarding English language level in candidates, as you mentioned before. But in our case, for the part of professionals, because operations is operational people and professional operational people, which is engineering. No? So we have been working with universities, the ones that we consider target universities because are from the ones we really find the foundations in the engineers we are looking for entry-level positions. And now most, or if not all, of the professionals are usually bilingual. So in our case, we have been able to cope with that with the universities and pass that part. On the other hand, regarding the experienced talent as part of their career progression and development in an international company, is to be able to have exposure to other countries and environments. So we will see many Mexicans in other countries around the world gaining international experience, as well as many foreigners coming to Mexico for that experience. And for sure, when the Mexicans come back with this international diverse background, this will add value to the organization and to the solutions we provide to our customers. Now, regarding that part, operational positions. In Halliburton, one of our main values is health and safety together. So we have very robust processes and checkpoints, risk management, all in place to assure our operational people, the ones that are right there, working with having to wait heavy lifts and having to be working with pressure, with high temperatures and all that, are always safe at work and will come back to their homes as they come to work. And lately, when we have had the need to go look for experienced people operational people and look in the market, we have faced that many of the qualified people who has been working for several years in different companies, they have some healthy problems due to the kind of work they do. And maybe not having the processes and checkpoints to avoid them to get injured, or maybe not having the training on how to do the process, which if we keep them working in operations, we only increase their health problems. So that is a challenge for us, getting operational people. So we have to go and continue looking for more talent in order to have them hired and be able to work and comply with the contracts we have in place. That's what my opinion on this.
I think Mexico also, it has a rich history, obviously, already in oil and gas. It's not like you did some findings like now you see in Suriname or Guyana, where you basically have to start from scratch, right? There's already an oil and gas history. That being said, with all those new operators and all the plans, all the things that's coming up, the workforce will be bigger than the available talent. So yeah, there's definitely a need for training, and where all the stakeholders have to take place in making sure that we are up to speed there. Socorro, what do you think would be the options?
The options. I like to be brief. I work for 100% Mexican company. And based on that, I can say that Mexico has very talented and creative people. All what we need is support them properly. Working together with international company makes possible to share knowledge, technology, and talent. Keywords in this period of time and on is going to be share knowledge and technology. We have to improve processes. We have to develop people. All the people we have demonstrated that they can do their job. So we have to be confident that we're going to solve all the problems that could be faced and be a permanent and professional company.
And that brings us to our next question. How can international and Mexican national companies best work together to develop the local content that has a suitable and necessary skills to drive Mexico's energy sector forward? I think there are some ideas there already. Zayra, would you like to start?
Sure. Well, we as an international service provider, I think we need to keep promoting university and strategic partner relations to promote the oil and gas industry as a whole, to be a preferred employer in the mind of the new professionals. And we can do it together, operators and service providers, and all the vendors that work around the upstream, midstream, downstream cycles of the oil and gas industry. We need to continue participating in career fairs, university info sessions, whatever events like this. Well, this is specifically for oil and gas, but general events. We all win by keeping engaging local talent in entry-level positions. In our case, for my company, to have them adhere to our organizational culture since the beginning of their professional life. Learn our high execution standards. And in this way, assure we can provide the service our customer needs for their success. For operational entry-level positions, keep working with technical schools to keep having technical careers that can provide the foundation for this entry-level operational talent, who will need to have a certain level of knowledge to start an operational career and keep developing their experience and competencies to continue an oil and gas career. And also, on the other hand, regarding experienced professionals and experienced operational talent, we need to assure we have strong processes which contain risk management, healthy checkpoints to assure our oil and gas experienced people can keep working for organizations for enough time to keep passing the knowledge to new generations, and with this, assure the sustainability for our oil and gas industry.
Before I also ask the other panelists, I think one of the things we should also include there, I think there are already various universities that are working together with operators and companies like Halliburton to offer specialized education programs. But maybe there's also a challenge in getting those people to the universities. Maybe we should start earlier. How can we make the industry sexy again, right? How can we motivate also young students to choose for a career in energy, and also motivate women to go more into the STEM different studies. Maybe Jenny would like to start?
Yes. So, I mean, specific to that question, I mean, I agree. We have to make it sexy again. It's the oil and gas industry has had such hard turmoil, I think, over the last 7 to 8 years that the ups and down is not attractive. It doesn't seem like a long-term career just due to the frequent rehire layoff cycle that we have. And I think one of the ways that we can do that, and just addressing the question, that we had, if that's okay, leading right into that, I believe one of the solutions to that is for, the lessees, the international companies, the project owners, share their expectations really early, especially around developing local talent. A lot of these have internationally based training and competency programs. They have internationally based competency standards where they recognize knowledge, skills, behavioral and attitudes now that are necessary for these jobs that may not have been present prior to the international companies coming into country. So I think if we start that journey early, prior to first oil, while they're moving early through the exploration phases, they can align those expectations with local programs through the local academia or vocational schools that are already in place, create consortiums so the knowledge is shared broadly, it's accessible broadly. And I think another important feature to that is not just setting the standards or making sure that it's communicated, but ensuring that there's access to solutions to help, one, identify any gaps that might be present based on those standards, but then two, invest in ways to get that learning out, invest in, new learner types, the gaming, virtual reality, so that across the country, the same type of knowledge can be gained or received from different providers. I think financial support's important in that too, scholarships, internships. So that kind of drives, getting new types that maybe didn't think about oil and gas, women, younger workforce, just a diversification of I think, workforce, promotion through local providers, local companies, local colleges, and starting them early in that journey. So it's kind of a long-term growth. And with that, I think the biggest thing is creating a workforce of satisfaction and retention. And when you put these different programs in place and you make it a career, not just a course, not just a competency achievement, not just a certificate of completion, but you actually create 10 or 15-year career-based programs that allow them to progress through an organization, will really help combat the need that might be perceived as a shortage of talent or available workforce, I think, within the Mexican market. Okay, I'm mute.
Socorro, do you have anything to add on this? Socorro?
Oh, pardon me.
Sorry, would you like to add anything to the comments of Jenni and Zayra?
Regarding this, I guess that it's very important to join young people from university, because we have been working with people with a lot of experience. The market now is changing and challenging market. We have been working with some programs to prepare and develop young professionals to be part of our team, and has been a good strategy for us.
Great. I think we have 2 minutes left. I think we can do one more question from the audience. I think an interesting question from Peter Appleby. He asks, how did COVID-19 unveil some of the underlying previously existing safety and integrity concerns on upstream assets? And how can these concerns be limited moving forward within the new price environment? I think if we talk about upstream assets, this question will be better for you, Zayra.
That's a very technical one. Yeah, we are an oil service mainly in the upstream, right? COVID has impacted a lot the services we provide because it has increased the price of performing the service. Because, for example, right now we have a crew. In the past, we used to have a crew to do a completion or cementing or whatever work. But now with the COVID-19, we have to have a backup crew just in case one of the people in that crew gets COVID infected, because when a person gets COVID infected, it takes around 32 days for that person to be clear and then go back again to the oil and perform and generate revenue. So a lot of our costs have been increasing regarding the COVID, having to add a lot of measures to preserve the asset integrity and not to get contagious with every people that is there, because it's not only our company. There are other companies and the operator in that. And if we get someone with the infection, with the virus, we have to pay for that. So that's really complicated. So yeah, what we have done is prevention. We are really having all the people we have test in regular basis, and all our assets and everything follow the government in every country prevention regulations they have put in place, and trying to keep it safe, to keep it to the lowest cost, and not to have people infected, and having people safe and be able to perform the job and go back to their houses.